You ever feel that constant, pressure? That feeling you've got to be chasing happiness, more success, always kind of looking over your shoulder at what everyone else is doing.
Oh, absolutely. It's like modern life is this performance review you never escape.
Yeah.
Always this ideal just out of reach.
Right. It's exhausting. And that's exactly what we're getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into a book that really flips that script. Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fick.
A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Quite the title.
It is. And our mission here is basically to pull out the key ideas, the real nuggets from the book and its review, see how it pushes back against typical self-help stuff.
And explore how this different way of thinking might actually help you cut through all that noise. Maybe embrace the messy bits and focus on what, genuinely matters.
Okay, so let's unpack it. Manson kicks things off by sort of diagnosing a problem he sees in society today.
Yeah, this obsession, he calls it, with finding happiness, getting success, and critically, getting validation from other people.
So why does he think that's such a big deal? I mean, isn't wanting to be happy normal?
Well, yeah, but he points out how we're just bombarded constantly with these messages saying, be more, do more, achieve more. It's relentless.
Like you have to be positive all the time.
Exactly. It's almost like this societal command, be happy, be successful, and it turns into this nonstop self-improvement cycle you can't get off.
And the result? According to Manson.
Well, he argues it just breeds this culture of competition, constant comparison, anxiety, feeling like you're never quite good enough.
Or always falling short somehow, which, ironically, makes people less happy, right?
Totally. It's this feedback loop. The harder you chase this perfect idea of happiness, the worse you feel when inevitably you don't reach it instantly. The pursuit itself becomes the problem.
Okay, so that's the problem statement, this endless kind of damaging chase. What's Manson's fix? His solutions are pretty counterintuitive, starting with embracing imperfection. That feels wrong somehow.
Right. It goes against everything we're told. But he argues that striving for perfection, it's often just a fancy way to procrastinate. You get paralyzed.
So it's not about just settling.
Not exactly. It's more like accepting good enough, or even messy, is what actually lets you get started and build momentum. He says failure isn't the enemy of success. It's like part of the path.
So it's less about not caring at all and more about caring about the right things.
Precisely. Which might mean caring less about getting every single detail perfect right out of the gate.
Okay, that makes sense. And that ties into his next point, right? The power of focus. He says trying to do everything just overwhelms us.
Yeah, we spread ourselves way too thin, chasing every shiny object or trying to meet every expectation.
But how do you decide? In a world screaming for your attention everywhere, how do you pick what not to care about?
Well, that's the subtle art part, isn't it? It's not apathy. It's about being fiercely protective of your focus. Really honing in on what genuinely adds value, what lines up with your core values. It means saying no a lot.
Even to good things.
Even to seemingly good things if they don't serve that core mission. Yeah. It's about deciding what's actually worth giving a feck about, to use his term.
Your fecks are limited.
Right. Limited fecks. Okay, another big one he hits hard is external validation. Wanting people to like us, approve of us. That feels pretty human.
It is human. But Manson makes a key distinction here.
Okay.
It's not about being a hermit or not caring about relationships. It's about not letting other people's opinions be the main source or the only source of your self-worth.
So if your value depends entirely on what others think.
It's incredibly unstable, like building your house on shifting sand, he might say. You need that internal foundation self-worth coming from your own values, your own actions. Bedrock, not sand.
Okay, yeah, I get that. And this next part, for me, this is where it all really clicks together.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility.
Yes, this feels foundational to his whole argument.
He says we're responsible for our experiences, even the ones that aren't technically our fault. How does that work? It's a challenging idea. It's not about blaming yourself for bad things happening. It's about owning your reactions to those things, your choices in those situations.
So less about blame, more about control.
Exactly. Control over your response. Learning from mistakes instead of just pointing fingers. It shifts you from feeling like a victim of circumstances to being an agent in your own life. You take back power by accepting responsibility for how you deal with things.
Okay, that's a powerful shift. So let's try and blow this down. If you, listening, could only take away a few key things from Manson's ideas, what would they be?
Well, first, figure out your values and focus your limited energy, your fecks, on what truly matters to you. Second, Embrace that imperfection is okay. Progress is the real win, not some flawless ideal.
Yeah.
Third, take ownership. Radical responsibility for your actions, your choices, your reactions. And finally, fourth, consciously let go of that constant need for external validation. Build your worth from the inside out.
It's definitely a different way to look at things. And, the reviews often mention how readable the book is, engaging, conversational. It doesn't feel preachy.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And the advice feels practical, stuff you can actually try in your daily life. Plus, it really does push you to think critically about your own priorities, which is where real growth happens, I think.
But it's not perfect, right? No book is. We should probably touch on some of the critiques, too, for a balanced view.
Sure. Some people find the ideas a bit superficial, maybe lacking deep philosophical roots, if that's what you're looking for.
Like it scratches the surface but doesn't go super deep.
Kind of. And there's a strong focus on individualism. Really strong. Which might not sit well with everyone, especially folks who really value community, social action, that kind of thing.
That makes sense. I also saw mentions about a lack of concrete examples. Like, the concepts are clear, but how exactly do you apply them in tricky situations?
Yeah, that's a fair point. It gives you the what and the why, but the how can sometimes feel a bit vague. It leaves more interpretation up to the reader, which isn't always easy. It's more philosophy than step-by-step guide.
So thinking about all that, who is this really for? Who gets the most out of wrestling with these ideas?
I'd say it's particularly relevant if you're feeling bogged down by anxiety, maybe depression, or just that vague sense of emptiness that comes from chasing society's definition of good.
So people tired of the usual self-help platitudes.
Exactly. You're looking for something that challenges conventional wisdom, offers a different perspective, and gives you practical, albeit sometimes blunt, advice for living a life that feels more authentic, maybe, more focused on what you choose.
Okay, so wrapping up. The subtle art of not giving a thank isn't some magic wand, clearly.
Definitely not.
But it does offer this really valuable, sometimes uncomfortable framework for rethinking what you value and where you spend your energy. It makes you look inward.
Right, so the big question for you listening is, what does this all mean for you? If not giving a fuck isn't about being indifferent, but about being highly selective about what earns your care, how could that change things?
How might that redefine your priorities day to day, your relationships, even what you consider success? What really stands out to you from all this?
It's definitely something to chew on. Maybe think about one specific area in your life.
Yeah.
Are you chasing validation there? Could letting go of perfection actually help you move forward?
Yeah. Sometimes caring less about the stuff that doesn't truly matter frees you up to care so much more about the stuff that does. It's a subtle art, indeed. Yeah. And if you enjoyed this, please do like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in.
And we look forward to having you join us for our next deep dive.